Welcome to another segment of Board Game Bites. Alright everyone, welcome back to After Evenfall, a channel all about inspiring you to embark on adventures from home. My name is Bailey, and today we are going to do another segment of Board Game Bites, and that is a video where I review 5 different games that I've played recently and give you my opinion on them. Now, sometimes these games are older games, sometimes they're newer games. I think in this one I have a little bit of a mix, but I'm looking forward to giving my opinion on them and sharing what I think. So we've had some pretty big changes, and if I sound congested at all, again, I feel like constantly sick in this house. It's part of having school-age kids. It's just in our house all the time. Right now everyone's puking their guts out, so I am going to try to get through this video without sounding too sick. But in the meantime, let's get into it. All right, so the first board game I am reviewing today is actually right behind me over my shoulder, and it is one that I'm super excited about, and that is Fromage by Road to Infamy Games. Now, if you're familiar with this company, they have also produced Canvas, which is one that we have in our house and we've really enjoyed. I have heard so much about this game, and I was so excited to get it to the table. I've been hearing so much stuff. It's been since, I think, Gen Con was when I really started to hear some buzz about it. A little bit prior to that. No, yeah, something like that. I don't know. I think I actually heard about the game prior to that. But Road to Infamy Games was kind enough to send this game to me, and I am so stoked to review it for you guys. We finally got it to the table around Thanksgiving, and it was so fun. So Fromage is a worker placement game with a centralized rondel with four separate segments that you will be placing your workers out onto. Now, each of these segments has a different way of scoring points, and you will only be able to place your workers out onto the segment that is directly in front of you. Now, one of these segments is an area control segment, and it is a map where you will place out your workers and try to have the majority control in certain regions so that you can score a certain amount of points, which are randomized each game with these little token pieces. Now, the next segment is the bistro, and that is where you are trying to get pairs, and the more pairs that you have of cheese on the tables, the higher the amount of points you score for the color plates that your cheese is on. Now, I know that kind of sounds confusing, but for instance, there will be a table with like a silver plate and a gold plate on it, and you'll put your cheese on there, and if you get both of them, then you'll go over to this little section and you'll calculate that pair as being one pair, and then it shows you how many points you could have for that silver plate and for that gold plate. And then the next section, there is also, it's not an area control, what am I trying to say? It is an adjacency game where you are trying to have your cheese line up adjacent to one another in order to score a certain amount of points, which are increased with the amount that you have next to each other. And the last section is a set of 6 shelves. There's gold, silver, and bronze, and you are trying to get on as many different shelves as you possibly can. There are rewards that you can get for placing on certain shelves, and the more shelves you're on, the more points you score. Now, there are also certain conditions as to where you can place your cheese. There are hard cheese spots, soft cheese spots, and blue cheese spots, and your characters all sit on top of one of those types of cheese, and the cheeses are also all pointing in different directions. So throughout the game, as the rondel turns, which it turns every round, so you'll place a worker, maybe 2 workers, out onto the board, and then the rondel will turn, and you get that worker back once it points back at you. So there are some workers that you will be able to place out and get back to you. For instance, the ones that go on bronze spots will come back to you immediately the next round. And then there are some, like on the silver, that won't come back to you for 2 rotations, and then the gold won't come back to you for 3 rotations. So you have to kind of gauge how long you're willing to put certain cheeses out there, because once you put a hard cheese on a gold spot, you won't be able to place a hard cheese again for 3 more rotations, which can give you some benefits but also some risks depending on where you're placing them. There's also like a little section of the board that you put out in front of you where you can get points for having made jam or get berries, which is all applicable in the game to where you place your cheeses out. There are some cheeses that have a special condition that you have to place a berry or a jam out. You have to have one to convert into one of those things. But overall, I kind of make this game sound complicated, but the flow of it is really, really nice. I love this game. We played it, and I felt like it was the perfect balance of almost everything. There were a good amount of mechanisms to keep the game interesting. I liked the way that you score the points. My husband enjoyed the game, which is a really big deal for me because it kind of feels a little Euro-y, but he usually doesn't like games like that, but he really enjoyed it. And it's not too long. Like, it sounds like it could be long. It sounds like it could be overcomplicated. But really, once you get into the flow of the game, it's actually really simple and it's very easy to teach, which I love because we don't have, I've said it before, we don't have a lot of people that we play games with over and over again. So having games that are easy to teach are super convenient for us. They make it really easy to play and play and play again. And this is one that I could get out over and over and over again. I absolutely adored the theme. I love the implementation of it. It's very true to the style of the game. And I love how everything feels so well thought out. And I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. My husband gave it 4. My mom did play it with me. She didn't like it as much. I think it's because she likes to really play games over and over again, and we only played one game. She gave it a 3.5, but the more I talked about it, the more interested she was in playing it again. So I am sure that she will enjoy it more her second go-round. And 5 stars. I loved it, and that is Fromage. All right, so my next game that I'm reviewing today is also a game that was sent to me. It was sent to me by Snowdale Design, and I have had this one on my wish list. I don't know what I'm saying. I've had this one on my wish list for forever, and I was so excited to finally get a copy of it, and that is Lands of Galzir. So Lands of Galzir is a choose your own adventure story with a side of board gaming. That is the best way that I would describe it. The actual mechanics of the game are really, really simple and very minimal. You are primarily, like, most of your time playing this game is going to be spent reading out of their book of adventures, which they have in a companion app. I would hesitate to say that even, like, really the majority of the time investment that you're going to make in the game is going to be into the companion app. It's not going to be into the actual board gaming itself. In the game, you will be taking your character and advancing them around a board, and it's really you can go anywhere you want. There are different stories that you can activate when you go to different regions, and you really get to see where the adventure takes you. I don't want to say too much about the game because don't want to say too much about the actual story of the game because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so I'm not going to get into it. I did play the bird character, Asala, I believe. The names, I'm going to warn you, are a little bit confusing. So in the game, you're moving around the board. You get to, like, move twice each round, and you stop at a spot, and then you have this companion app that has that ability to read a story for the spot or activate an event. Sometimes you will be able to get items, or you will be able to swap items. Oh, and then when you're, like, and then as the story's being told, it'll ask you certain questions. You will roll the dice to do a skill check, and your dice, you'll have, like, a set of 5 basic black die, and then you have a little skill set out in front of you to show how many additional colored dice you have. And for instance, Asala, or the bird, starts out with 2 purple, I want to say a pink, and a yellow. So you can add those additional dice to your pool when you're rolling to try to finish that skill check and try to get the best outcome for it. And then depending on what you roll, how many faces of each symbol you have, you'll plug that into your app, and then it'll send you along your story. I really loved the storyline element to it. I thought that was really incredible. I haven't played a game quite like it before. It's not full campaign. It's somewhere between a campaign and a book. It's in a story. It's hard because there's so much replayability in it. It's almost like if you're nervous to dive in. Okay, so for instance, I am not an RPG player. I have never really played RPG games. I'm deeply self-conscious, so I don't think that I could do voice acting and stuff. But with RPG games, my hesitation to them has always been the lack of guidance and having to make your own decisions all the time and not necessarily knowing where the storyline goes. What I like is it really makes the decision making easy for you as you're playing your game. So it gives you these RPG vibes without being full RPG. So you don't have to do this, you don't have to do character voices, but you can if you want to. And it's super, super, super open world. Like you can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. It's a really interesting way of playing a game. I have yet to encounter anything like it. I have played their Peacemakers game before that Snowdale Design produced, and it's set in the same world, but it's very different in its gameplay. It really is just dice throwing and movement with your ability to collect certain things on the side and maybe adjust your skill track as you complete certain challenges or as certain storylines arise. Overall, it's a really cool game. People who it would not be for are those of you who would be interested in playing different games. This is a longer game. It is campaign-esque, campaign adjacent, so you will be playing it over the course of a year in the story, and it can take a while. Each session is usually like 45 minutes to an hour, and there are multiple sessions that you'll play. And for that reason, I would hesitate to recommend this to anyone who is newer into the hobby. This is something that I would recommend to someone who's it's lightweight as far as mechanisms go. It's medium to heavyweight as far as like storyline and just time investment. It is going to be a massive time investment for you. And that's hard for me. I don't really have the ability to play a lot of games play the same game over and over and over again. I try to learn new games for you guys so that I can give you reviews. And I am also limited on my time due to having kids. So that makes it a little bit difficult for me. But overall, I really enjoyed the game itself. One feature that I really love is how easy it is to save the game. I've had other campaign games that we own that I've tried to get into, and it's so hard to put it all out and take it all and put it all away again. And I don't really enjoy that. With this game, I can set it up within 5 minutes. I can take it out, or I can take it out, put it out on my table within 5 minutes. My other nitpick would be the initial setup. So when you're trying to organize your cards and stuff, that can take a while. But if you do that before your game night, it shouldn't be too difficult. There's the ability to play this solo. You can play this competitively, and you can play this cooperatively, which my preference would be cooperative. I don't really know why you'd play it competitively. I don't really feel like that. I don't know. I didn't play it competitively, so I can't give my total opinion on that. But I gave this game 4.5 stars, with the half star taken off just being for time investment for me. It was just hard to get it out to the table a lot, but I still really enjoyed it. The storyline is really, really cool, and I would highly recommend this to anyone who's interested in maybe RPG games without diving full-blown into RPG. And that is Lands of Galzer. All right, so my next game is another one behind me, and that is tinderblox. Now, this is a super simple little stacking game where you are given these little wood pieces and these like red and yellow cubes, and you place them out onto a card, and you're trying to stack them without having them fall. It's kind of like reverse Jenga, and you will draw cards throughout the game that tell you the way that you have to stack them. So sometimes you have to, and you have these little tweezers too, and so you're trying not to knock them over, and you have these little tweezers with no grip on the end, so they're super, super slick, and you're trying to pick up, sometimes it's like a wood piece with a cube on the side, and you're trying to set it on top without tipping the whole thing over. It's really, really simple to teach, and we have really liked this game. It's so nice when you have friends over that aren't into board games at all. It's super chill. Everyone laughs a ton, and you can play the game over and over and over again. And I have yet to have anyone that we've played it with that didn't enjoy it. It's very quirky, very little. Definitely a dexterity game. If you suck at dexterity games, you might not like it as much, but I definitely have had a fun time, and it always makes me laugh. And I think I gave it like a 4 on my chart. I have a little chart where I keep track of everything and what scores I've given all my games that I've played. But I think I gave it a 4, I really like it a lot. It's a super fun, super light, super simple game, and that is tinderblox. My next game that I have is one that I have done. It's the only game that I've done a playthrough of on this channel, and I just felt like it was so utterly boring for other people to watch my playthrough that I haven't done another one again. If you guys are interested in watching me do a playthrough, let me know. Yeah, setting up my camera and stuff was like a nightmare the last time I did it though, because I had to use like my phone camera to get it overhead. Anyway, it was awful. But and the video was probably like low quality. It's fine though. And the next game is Calico by AEG and Flat Out Games. So Calico is this little puzzly game where you are taking these little quilt tiles and you're putting them out onto the board in order to attract cats. Now there will be certain conditions that you have to meet depending on the game that you're playing. There are these tiles that are on the board, these white tiles. One of them says something along the lines of every tile touching this tile has to be different colors, or every tile touching this tile has to be different patterns, or some of them will say they want like 2 sets, or they want matching patterns all around it. And then once you have certain sets of tiles on your board in a certain grouping, if you have like 3 tiles or 4 tiles, 5, 7, something like that, you'll be able to attract certain cats to place onto one of those tiles. And those cats are worth points at the end of the game, as are also the more of those objectives that you fulfill around the white tiles, you will be able to get points based off of that. And then there's also these little button tiles that you can put on if you might be trying to get one of each color of the button tiles. So this is a brain burner of a game. I know it looks super cute. It looks like it could be a lullaby game. It looks very cozy, and there is some coziness to it, but it is very puzzly and it is very much brain burner. And I really enjoy playing it. It's one of those games where it's kind of fun to prove to yourself that you are intelligent enough to complete the puzzle in front of you and to make all of those tiles line up so that you can activate all of your points at the end of the game. It really sucks when it's inevitable. At the end of the game, you'll have some tiles that'll come out because you're drafting tiles and placing them on your board. You'll have some tiles come out and you're like, I can't put any of these anywhere. I can't fulfill the pattern requirement. I can't fulfill the color requirement. And I am 1 tile away from winning this whole game, and I just blew it. And that part always sucks, but I really, really enjoyed this game. I'm kind of impartial. I'm not a big cat person, but I do love quilting. I'm an old lady at heart. I sew like crazy, and I have made over 50 quilts, I think. Quilt tops, which are different than quilts. Anyway, so if you could look around my studio right now, I've been making Christmas quilts for my kids, and it's a mess. It's like a rainbow of fabric everywhere. But because this half of my studio is a studio, and then that half is all my craft room. So it's pretty filthy, dirty. And this table also, if you've ever seen it in my B-roll, it's like nasty because I have done every sort of craft, from bath bombs to candle making to, as I clean that, yeah, everything. That's glue. Glue residue. Anyway, it's a little bit worn in, but I love quilts, and so I really like the game because it kind of feels like quilting to me. You're putting together your own little quilt and to lay out on your bed, and it's adorable. And hexagon quilts are a pain in the butt to make. If anyone's ever made them, they're a nightmare, but it's fun to have it be easy in a game. No, if anything makes sense, it's the fact that it's hard to finish this game and it's hard to make hexagon quilts, for anyone who didn't know. But I really enjoyed this game. I gave it 4 stars. It's not one of my favorite games, but I do think that it's a really good filler game if you're looking for something that's kind of a brain burner. And that is Calico. So my next game is one that is, I'm pretty sure, out of print now, but we have enjoyed it thoroughly. And that is, and I'm going to botch this because I always do, sonora. My brain, you're going to have to forgive me. Every time I see this, I always want to say sonora. No. I'm an idiot. Woof. Sonora is the name of the game, and I always want to say sonora. I can't keep it straight, you guys. You're going to have to, bear with me. That is embarrassing. I can't believe I just did that. I'm probably going to leave it in the video, too, because I don't know what else to do. Anyway, sonora, like the Sonoran Desert, which I used to live close to, so you'd think I would know how to pronounce it. Anyway, this is a dexterity mixed with a brain burner kind of a game. It's very crunchy. There's a lot of math going on in it. But the idea of the game is there's this board out in front of you, and you have a certain number of tokens that you're flicking into the board. There are quadrants, and depending on where your token lands, and your token has a number value on it. And the numbers will land in certain quadrants as you're flicking. That quadrant is, you'll take that amount and you'll apply it down to a personal board in front of you that has 4 separate sections to it as well. Now these 4 separate sections will have, there's one area that's like Tetris looking, where if you like flicked a 3 and it landed in that area, then you will draw a 3. It tells you like what shape you can make, and you'll write that out onto your board and try to activate certain icons that might allow you to score in other regions as well. There's also like a river section where you're just trying to get down to the base of the river to score the most amount of the points. And then there is a little, it's not area control, it's this little, it's this area where you're trying to complete these lines to fill in the spaces. I'm trying to think of what it's called. I'm blanking on it right now. Basically, there's an icon with 3 lines around it, and you're using your marker trying to trace out all 3 lines to get that icon in the middle. And it's a whole bunch of those, all like a spider web of those. And the further out the edges that you can get, the higher the points become that you can accumulate. And then there's also a hexagon area where you're just trying to fill out as many hexagons as you can in certain pools, and then you get a certain amount of points for being the first person to fill out like one of the 15 hexagon segments or one of the 4 hexagon segments. And the whole entire game is a lot of math, and you're just trying to get the most amount of points. Now, it sounds really complicated. Once you've started playing it, it's not too complicated. I would put it at about medium weight. And it's a game that we have loved. My mom in particular, this is probably one of her favorite games. We started playing it a few years ago, and she immediately went and tried to find a copy, and she was pretty irritated that they were out of print at the time. I don't know if they're back in print yet. I don't know. Anyway, she went and found a copy on eBay. She ended up ordering it and getting it, and everyone in my family has really enjoyed playing it. My sister is the best at it, and it sucks to play games against her because you will always lose this one in particular. She is really, really good at math, and she is very good at activating all of those things. I don't know how she does it. Her brain just works better than mine when it comes to learning this game. But overall, it's a really fun game, and I love the flicking mixed with the math. It makes it really fun. And also, you can bump people because it goes you flick, and then someone else flicks, and then someone else flicks, and someone else flicks. And each of those discs you might get into the zone that you really wanted to be in, and someone might flick their disc, and it hits yours and knocks it right into an area that you don't want it to be in. And that, and it happens. It's really fun though, and I thoroughly enjoy this game. Anyway, that is Sonora. I give it probably like 4.5 or 5 stars. It's somewhere in there for me. I really enjoyed it. This is a video full of games that I really, really liked today, which is always fun to do. But yeah, that is Sonora. Alright, thank you so much for joining me today here at Board Game Bites. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you liked what you watched, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications when we upload new content. And I am an Amazon affiliate now, so I try to add all of the games that are available on Amazon that I've reviewed into my links. If you want, you can check in my description box below to be sent to the Amazon page where it's storefront where I have all of the stuff listed. I also have my equipment. I just set that up. So if anyone's interested, it helps just to kind of centralize where all the games that I have played are located, if you're interested in looking for them. However, I will say that on Amazon, not all of the games are available, so you might have to look third party for some of those. But that's where it all should be located from here on out if anyone is interested. I also try to include some of my favorite games in a separate section on there. Yeah, so I hope you guys all have a wonderful week or two, I am probably going to be a little slow to upload videos just because I do have the new baby and we are still adjusting. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed making it for you, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend and a wonderful holiday season. And I hope to see you again here in the After Evenfall community.